Good morning, one and all. I welcome you on behalf of KIT's IMER. KIT's IMER is conducting webinars on various issues of managerial and technical aspects. To give more insight on this, I call upon our Honorable Director, Dr. S.M. Khalilkar sir.
Very good morning to all dear participants for this series of webinars. Myself, Dr. Khalilkar SM, the Director of KIT's Institute of Management Education and Research, which has established in 1994 with the very objective in the mind of the trustees to impart the management education amongst the various corners of Kolhapur. Recently, the COVID has posed various challenges before the corners of the society. If we think, then the challenges are of three different types or for three different sectors. First is education, second is employment, and third is emotions. So, with these three objectives in the mind, the institute is going to make the attempt to address these challenges to the various corners of the society. In this regard, the institute has decided to start the series of webinars on the topics like digital financing, digital marketing, the various initiatives needs to be taken in form of stress management, meditation, customer satisfaction, etc. And I hope that these series of webinars or the sessions will be in position to address the issues what we have decided at the start of this seminar. So, I would like to wish all the best for this series of webinars. Thank you.
As you all know, COVID 19 has affected all the dimensions of our life. In this pandemic situation, digital education plays an important role for getting knowledge. So, what are the challenges before the digital education and how the opportunities can be grabbed is a important factor. So, KIT's IMER is conducting webinar on challenges and opportunities before digital education post COVID-19. For this webinar, we have eminent resource person, Honorable Dr. S.D.Kore sir. Dr. S.D.Kore sir has completed his MCom, MBA and PhD. He has vast experience in teaching of 14 years and 20 plus years experience in industrial exposure of various departments.
Hello and good morning to one and all. First of all, I would like to thank the management of KIT College, Director Dr. S.M. Khalilkar sir and organizing committee. I am very much thankful to invite me as a resource person in this today's webinar, namely the challenges and opportunities before digital education. So, we all are aware about this COVID-19 situation. During the month of the March, the whole world and India is suffering from this situation. So, the almost whole world has stuck up with this COVID-19. That COVID-19, this pandemic virus has affected very badly to the whole world. So all these sectors, including the education sector, has in hang position. So now the topic which we have selected for the webinar, that is the challenges and opportunities before the digital education. So there is no any alternative. Only source to have a education process continuation through the digital mode. So that's why it is very much necessary to know about the digital education. So basically today we are going to talk on what is the digital education, what are the challenges and opportunities before the digital education. So how to overcome whatever the challenges are there, or how to encash all the opportunities during this COVID-19 period. So before starting the session, first we should understand what is a digital education. So what exactly the digital and what is the education? In the traditional way, there was a chalk and talk method till date. But during the COVID-19, there was no any face-to-face relation is not there. There is no any classrooms are available. So because of this COVID situation, it was necessary to go for the digital education. So basically we have to understand what is a digital education. So one small definition is there, what is a digital education. Digital education is a revolutionary method of imparting knowledge. That means in digital education it is a revolutionary. Why? Because in earlier days there was a education through the classroom system. So the teacher was there, in front of teacher there were students, so there was a face to face interaction between the students and teacher. So in digital education, this is a revolutionary method which is a very much new for the many of the teachers and many of the institutions. So this method is the revolutionary method, we can say. Then digital education means digital teaching and learning which supported by the digital technology. That means here there is the importance of digital technology, digital equipments, digital technology. If we want to use the digital technology, digital equipments are to be used. Without digital technology and equipment, it is very difficult to interact with the students. So there is a scope for the digital technology and digital equipment. It includes animation. So how to teach to the students? So some of the contents are different. So while teaching to the students, while giving the information to the students, there is a necessary to use some the different kind of the methods, technology, that is the animations, gamifications and audio, visual graphs, etc. It is necessary to understand the student. It also includes the digital content. That means the traditional teaching is different and digital teaching is different. So here some the digital kind of the content, that what I said, that is a graphs, some the videos, clips, these type of content are very much necessary to understand the student. So that is the meaning of digital education. So what is the need of this digital education today? So as we discussed before, that is because of the COVID-19, it is very difficult to have an interaction with the students, institutions and some other the factors. So only way is a distance mode. Through distance mode, we have to contact to the students, we have to contact to the institutions or teacher to teacher. So how to contact to the teacher or how to contact to the students? So digital mode is required. So digital mode means it is a need of today because there is no any face to face interaction. So that's why it is necessary to understand what is the need. I can say it is a, you can say it is a push factor. So that COVID-19 has pushed the whole world to go for the digital way. So any transaction, even there is all the pujas, many of the weddings, it is happening through the digital mode. Why? Because it is a very difficult to have an interaction between the two people. So because of this, it is necessary to go for the digital mode for each and every transaction. So for education, so it is necessary to have a digital mode to interact with students, to use some internet or the smartphones. It is necessary. So then only we can provide the education. So you can say it is a technology enhanced learning, that is a TEL, or you can say the e-learning mode. So this digital education means it is a e-learning mode which helps the learner and institution to manage a relationship with the students, parents, alumni, teachers and other interested groups. So it is a need. Why? Because of the COVID-19 there is a restrictions to touch or to go outside the houses, to go on the road, it is difficult. That's why it is necessary to go or to teach or to continue the learning process through the digital mode only. So it helps. According to the UNESCO, one report has said that they have estimated that the coronavirus pandemic will adversely impact over 290 million students across the 22 countries. So this report says that many of the students worldwide, they are going for the digital education mode. There is no any alternative. So this report also said that many of the methods you can use for the digital education. For example, the technologies or some tools are there. Through that tools you can teach to the students, which are the most popular tools there. For example, Idamino or Secretive, Project, ThinkLink, TED8, K12, Class Dojo, EduClipper, Google Classroom, Seesaw, and ePathshala. These are some digital education tools through which we can contact to the students and we can contact to the learners in a digital way. So while teaching to the students or while providing the teaching, the education to the students, this mode is somewhat difficult. As far as the India is concerned, India is a very different geographical condition. So east, west, south, north, the total geographic condition is different. So any one unique tool or technology we cannot use everywhere uniquely. So that's why India is facing so many challenges how to teach the students, how to go for the digital education. For that we have find some challenges. What are the challenges? So in general, the general challenges are like student teacher interaction. In digital education there is no any interaction between the student and teacher. So in earlier days, or you can say in a traditional way teaching, there is a interaction with the student. There was the teacher was discussing with the students. There was the interaction with the students face to face. There were a question answer sessions, and it was easy to understand how is the student, whether student is learning properly or not, whether student is grasping, whether student is understanding or not. So it was very easy to understand the student. But in digital education, this is the big challenge. There is no any interaction between the student and teacher. Second, the one more challenge is that is the job security. The teachers or who is there, who is providing the service, education service, teaching services, there is one threat, there is a fear in their mind. So why? Because once you have recorded any lecture, any information, that can be provided frequently to the students, and in future there is no any need of the teacher. So that kind of the fear is there in the mind of the teachers. So that is related to one job security in the mind of the teacher. In student point of view, there is one thing is there, like that if there is education through the digital mode or in the distance mode, whether they will be able to get a good job. Why? Because in a traditional teaching, there were assessment, there was an evaluation of the students, there were a presentation. So such techniques were using in the traditional way. But in digital mode, there is no any scope for these things. So there is a fear in the mind of the students whether their education, their degrees will be considered as a valid, or these degrees will help the student to get a good job or retain a job. That kind of the threat is also there. One more challenge is that the computer literacy. So related to the computer literacy, one survey said that it is in December 2008 survey says that in India there is a literacy percentage is only 29%. And as far as the computer literacy is concerned, 1% out of 4% is a computer literate between age group of 5 to 69. And as far the digital literacy is concerned, 2% out of 5 between age group 5 to 69 are digitally literate people. If this percentage is this much less, how to go for the digital education, where the India is in a position to go for the digital education. So that is a great challenge before the Indian education system. One more challenge is lack of self discipline. See, digital education, there is no any direct contact between the learner and the teacher. So in that case, if there is no any discipline among the students and teacher, it is very difficult to have a great success during the digital education. Why? Because unless and until you are not listening carefully, unless and until you are not analyzing the things what the teacher is teaching, and if there is no any question is asking by the students, whether it is difficult to understand whether the student is learning properly or not. Sometimes it is difficult to evaluate the student whether he is getting the proper knowledge or not. So many of the things, even we are observing that the computers are on, smartphone is on, but students are moving here and there. It is on. So the teacher will understand that yes, so many participants are there, students are there, he will count the number. But in fact, actually students are not on the place, they are not watching the clip or video, or they are not listening the whatever the thing, whatever the knowledge is given by the teacher. So in this way, if there is no any discipline among the teacher or the student, it is very difficult to go for this digital education. Then one more the challenge is the technology upgradation. So there is a special budget is required for this. So every time to upgrade the technology is not that much possible as far as the India is concerned. Why? Because technology is changing very speedily. After every 1 month, 2 months, there is a new change in the technology. New the apps are coming, new the ERPs are coming, new the method systems. So many new things are there in the market. So every time to change these things is very, very difficult. So that is technology upgradation is one more challenge before the digital education in India. Next challenge is designing e-learning courses for different generation. See, uniquely we cannot go for the digital education. One any syllabus, one any digital content will not be helpful for all the students. So according to the generation, according to the teachers, according to the students, according to the subject, so every time we have to fix the course in a different way. So how to design, that is one question, because when there is a face-to-face interaction, when there is a direct interaction, we can ask the student, we can say the student, we can explain the students, but in digital mode it is difficult. So how to design teaching, learning the content is one more challenge before the digital education. Next one challenge is there, 85% people can't speak, read or write English language. So in India, it is one of the special, you can say the special challenge is there. So many people, they are using the local languages. So in every state there is a different language. Within the state, some the different languages are also there. So one English language cannot uniquely use for digital teaching, and again also it is difficult to convert the English into local language. That difficulty is also there. So the language is one more problem, one more hurdle in the digital education. So these are the general challenges before digital education. So next challenge is related to the student. So for student also, students are facing so many challenges of this digital education. Nowadays there is no any alternative. Only source is to go for the digital education. It is a e-learning. So what challenges students are facing, or what challenges are there before the students? According to UNESCO report during COVID-19 pandemic, there are 126 crore students worldwide are going through the digital education. So this kind of the education is the only source to provide the education facility to the students. So 126 crore students are worldwide are learning through the digital education, and out of that 32 crores Indian students are attending the digital tuitions, or you can say the classes. Out of this, 72% students worldwide attending the online lecture. So this is the 126 crore worldwide. This is the one figure, but out of that, 32 crores are the Indian students who are attending the digital education, and out of the 72% of the students worldwide attending the online lecture. So what challenges are there before the students? So first challenge is the mental health of the students. What about the mental health? So hours together they are listening, they are understanding the subject in front of the laptop or smartphone. But the students, what about their capacity? So one report says that so many students are facing the eye problems. That is one great problem before the digital education, and related to the child is the eye problem. Even in addition to the eye problem, many of the physical problems and mental health, that problem is there before the children's. Then the next challenge before the student is they are not aware about the technology. Right now there are so many, the apps are available, just like Zoom is there, Telegram is there, many more the sources are there. But every source to understand by the student is somewhat difficult. So their knowledge is limited related to this technology. So how to use the technology? So one institute is providing one app and next institute is providing knowledge through the different apps. So how to grab this technology, that is the challenge before the students. Even one more challenge is there. So parents are also not accepting this challenge, the digital education. They are not ready to even go for the digital education. They are not accepting, and their opinion is this is the digital education is not the right source for the education. What the challenges are there related to the teacher? So related to teacher, for digital education, smart teachers are required. So there is no any scope for the traditional way. So whatever knowledge is there, he can deliver a good lecture in classroom. But in digital mode, he has to use the different technology, different technique for delivering the lecture. So for that purpose, smart teachers are required. So post the challenge is there, it is difficult to understand and study the students. When there is an interaction between the student and teacher, it is simple to understand the student, to evaluate the student, to ask the student. But in digital mode, there is no any interaction. Then how to understand the student? How to evaluate the student? What student is doing? Whether he is understanding the subject or not. So whether there is any doubt in the mind of the student or not. So it is difficult to understand by the teacher, the whatever the student is there, it is difficult to understand him. The next challenge is there, difficult to understand students' behavior and evaluate them. How is the student? So in a classroom, teacher can ask many questions to the student, and he will judge the student, he can understand the student, he can measure that student. But in digital mode, it is difficult to know the behavior of the student and evaluate the student. It is one more challenge. Then connectivity problem is there. In India, connectivity and infrastructure, digital infrastructure is also a great problem before the teachers, because there are so many problems related to the internet, net connectivity, all the equipments, and to reach the technology to the teacher is also a problem. And one personal problem is there. There are family problems. If the teacher is conducting lecture from the home, he has to face so many family problems and disturbance from the family members. So in digital education, teacher is necessary to have a friendly situation at home, but in more of the time, it is understand that teacher is living in a small house. There is no any special room. There is no any special equipment. Power problem is there. There is no any backup. Many of the guests are coming to the teacher. So in that circumstances, how he will give the education? How will use the digital equipment? Noise is there. Some small children are there. So these are the family problems before the teacher, and he is facing this one. Even lack of digital smartness. So already I have told you that digital smartness is necessary with the teacher to give the digital education to the student. He has to understand, he has to know, that is the one word, the technical know-how. He should be sound in a digital technology, then only he can provide properly the digital education to the students. According to a National Sample Survey 2017, there is a government expenditure towards the digital rural education is only 3% of the total GDP. So this is a very less. Government is also spending very less amount for the education. So in that case, how to go for the digital education? How to create the different kind of the environment? How to go for the internet connectivity? How to upgrade the technology? So that is one problem by the government. So unless and until government is not spending much amount out of the total GDP, it is very difficult to go for the digital education in our country. If you think about the United States is spending near about 14,000 US dollar per student, and if we compare this figure with the Indian expenditure, it is a very less. So how to go for this digital education? That is one great problem. This study also says that 13% rural and 42% urban people know what is the internet. What is the internet? They don't know. So in that case, if there is no any support from the parents, if they don't know what is the internet, and if students require these things, how they will provide it to students? Then it is a great hurdle between the digital education. And the same study says that only 8.5% women know about internet. If the literacy rate is this much less, how we can go for the digital education? This is a very difficult to go for this one. Then overall, only 13% people know about the internet. If the 13% people out of the total population know about the internet, they don't know anything about the digital technology, then there will not be support from the parent side or the society to the students to go for the digital education. Then how they will learn, that is the e-learning part. 75 crore people have mobile phones. This study says that 75 crore people have a mobile phone. It doesn't mean that they have smartphones. They can have the basic phones. So basic phones are useless for the digital education. So only 75 crore people having the total phones but not a smartphone. According to the TRI report says that 78% people have a smartphones. Out of 100, only 57 people have internet. So only 57 out of 100 means 57% people have a internet. So if this much less percent people are using the internet, then how we can success in this digital education? So it is again difficult thing. It is a great challenge before the digital education. One more study says that according to World University ranking, only mobile and IT devices is not enough for the digital education. Because if you have only phone, or if you have only computer, if you have only the laptop, this is not enough. You should understand the technology, you have to understand how to use it, how to make the proper utilization of these. This is also simultaneously important. So this infrastructure, space is also problem. readiness of the student and teacher is also a problem in our country. Why? Because if teachers are not ready to go for and to accept this type of the new technology, and the students is also not accepting this one, then it is difficult to go for the digital education. But nowadays there is no any alternative, only source is go for the digital education. So we have to ready for that one. 4.4% rural and 14.5% urban people have either laptop or desktop. See the figure, only 4.4% rural and 14.5% urban people have either laptop or desktop. So many students are from the rural area. Many institutions are established in the rural area, and if the user laptop or desktop user has only 4.4%, then how we can provide the digital education in rural area? Even in the city area, if the 14.5% people having the laptop or desktop, how we can provide this kind of the e-learning or the digital education? It is a difficult thing. So one more problem is there is a problem of in general access of internet and at home access connectivity. So the report says that in general you can have a connection, you can have an internet connection in a general access. So if you are out of your home house, you are on the street, you are on the in the garden, then there is access. You are connected to the internet. But when you are at home, there is no any internet, there is no any access to the internet. That is also a problem in the digital education. So these are some challenges before the digital education. There is no any alternative. We have to accept, we have to go for that one. But these are the challenges, we have to overcome that challenges. In other way, some opportunities are also there. What are the opportunities before the digital education? See, one figure says that, one survey says that, this survey is, the source is the financialexpress.com. 1 million schools are there in our country, 18,000 higher education institutions are there in our country. 4,000 crores online education market is there by 2017. So if you think about the digital education market, that means it is market related to the apps, technology and many of the softwares. So 4,000 crores online education market, until date it may be more than 3, 4, 5 times, 10 times bigger than this figure. So according to this study, one more study is there, as on 2020, total 1,000 plus universities are there in our country. 50 central universities are there, 402 state universities are there, 125 deemed universities are there, 334 private institutions universities are there, 7 state legislative universities are there, 155 institutions of national importance, that is IIM and IITs, NIT, these are there. So if this kind of the environment is there, this kind of the institutions and universities are there, so there is a great opportunity in our country to go for the digital education. So this opportunity, how we can encash? So we can encash if we have a certain strategy, if we have a plan, we can go for that. If this kind of the infrastructure is there, digital, institutions are there, universities are there, so huge the education system is there. So we use the digital technology, we can do some better work through the digital education. So digital infra environment is available. So the survey says that near about 85 crore people are using mobiles. In 2009, there is a sale of smartphone is 152.5 million sale of there is of smartphone. And this smartphone, laptop, desktop, basically these are the basic instruments which can use for the digital education. So this kind of the environment is ready. So this kind of the things are ready. We have discussed a lot of things about the challenges and opportunities of digital education. So now further we'll discuss about the what are the opportunities of digital education. So there are a lot of opportunities before of the digital education in our country. So some points are there. We will think we will discuss the opportunities according to that points. So first point is there according to the financialexpress.com, in our country there are 1 million schools are there, 18,000 higher education institutions are there, 4,000 crores online education market is there up to 2017. One more report says that as on 2020, total 1,000 plus universities are there in India. 50 central universities are there, 402 state universities are there, 125 deemed universities are there, 334 private universities and 7 state legislative universities are there in our country. 155 institutions of national importance like IIM, IITs, NITs are there. So this much good infrastructure is there in our country. So if this kind of infrastructure is there in our country, then it is very much easy to go for the digital education. So basic things are there. So basic platform is there, then there is no any problem to go for the digital education. This is the great opportunity for the digital education in our country. Digital infrastructure and digital environment is also available in our country. We can say this with the help of the next figure. The study says that near about 85 crore people are using mobiles in our country. According to the one report, 2019, there is a sale of a smartphone is 152.5 million, and this shows the 8% growth of the sale in the of the smartphone. If this much people are using the smartphone, this much sale is there is a 8% growth is there, then you can say there is a good infrastructure and there is a good you can say the environment for the digital education is there. So easily we can implement, easily we can execute the digital education in our country. So many children and parents are spending much time on digital devices. So if this much sale is there of the smartphones, so many laptops are selling, many desktop are selling, internet connectivity is also there. Parents and children are spending much time on the internet. That means the people are ready. So this is the great opportunities before the digital education. So easily we can implement, execute this one. Even technology itself is changing. Every day there is a change. The new softwares, new updated the technology is available in the market. Better technology is available with the less cost in our country. So we can say that there is no any problem to implement the digital education in our country. So this is the great opportunity. Even social media is also expanding. So almost you can say the maximum people they are using the WhatsApp and the social media. That means they know how to use it, how to make the use of these instruments, internet for education. So this is the opportunity. Accordingly, the generation is shifting to digitalization. In our days, the people were not aware about how to use internet, how to use the computers, how to use the laptops. Even many of the people, rural people, they don't know how to use the smartphones. But slowly and gradually, people and the society is shifting towards the digitalization, and this is the good signal. This is a good sign of how to use the technology. People are becoming aware day by day. Technology is replacing the teacher and getting good knowledge. See, gradually teachers are also upgraded their knowledge. They are knowing how to use the technology, how to upgrade their knowledge, how to go for the digital education. So slowly they are adopting the technology, and teachers are becoming smart, students are also becoming digitally smart, and even society is also ready for go for the digital education. So one more the important the opportunity is there. If you see the internet, if you see so many the study material is there, which is a structured study. So in digital education there is a great importance of the structured study. So the traditional way is different, traditional the education is different, and digital study is different. So it is necessary to have a structured study, structured digital material, education material, study material. So that is almost ready in our country. So that is also an opportunity. So many benefits are there. So benefits to smart students. So digital education will provide the good knowledge, good information, good education material, good study material with the lesser cost. Sometimes it is a free of cost. So those students, those educations are ready for digital education. So this is the great benefit to them. They can use this technology and they become a smart one. So this is the benefit to the institutions, students, society, and they are supposed to use that one. So one more opportunity there. This is the digital education is, you can say, the bridge which the fill up the gap between the teacher and technology. Those students who are not the student to whom it is not possible to go to the schools institution, for them they can have a knowledge, they can have education at home where they are. The education is ready. So this type of the education, e-learning or digital education, can construct a good bridge between the teacher and learner. So this is a great technology. So digital education is possible anytime, anywhere, anybody. So you can say it is a comfort zone to all. That means the institution, the teachers, learners. So this type of the education is very, very important in a comfort zone. So one more opportunity there. Quality education is possible to the students at the affordable price. So these are the some opportunities of the digital education. So next one model is there. If we use that model, if we implement that model in a proper way, then there is a great success of the digital education. So that model is related to the two factors. One is a primary factor and a secondary factor. So what are the primary factors and what are the secondary factors? If you study that one, then there is easily we can implement the digital education in our country. So what are the primary factors? There are four primary factors. One is a student, next is a faculty, one more is a technology, and fourth is a institution. What are the factors? So related to the students should be technological confident about the education. If student is confident, if he is very much confident, then easily this kind of the education, e-learning is easy. So student is necessary to be confident. Then willingness to learn through the digital mode, it is necessary. It is very much important of willingness. So if student is willing to learn through the digital mode, then easily this education can be provided. Psychological factors. So if psychologically fit student is, suppose the physical health, emotional health, mental health of the student is good enough, then it is possible to provide the education through the digital mode. So many social factors are there. Society should be ready. They should be ready to spend some amount on the digital education. So these are the related to the financial factors. So if society and student is ready to go for that one, so easily we can implement, easily we can execute the digital education. Related to the faculty should be qualified. He should be able to accept the whatever the new things are there. He should accept that one. He should learn many things related to the technology. Then only he can provide the good education to the student. He should be competent. He should not underestimate himself. He should always say that yes, we should learn, we have to learn, and we have to provide this kind of the good education to the student. So faculty should be competent and qualified. He should be willingness. The faculty willingness also very important to provide the digital education to the student. He should be technically know. He should be sound to go for the technically know. He should understand the new technology. He should understand the new applications of computer. Then only it is possible to go for the digital education. So faculty should be qualified, competent, willing, and he should be technically sound. Related to technology, cost is important factor. As far as in our country, the money matter is very important. If cost is there, then people will easily not accept that one. But for digital education, cost affects so much, because the two types of costs are there, two types of expenses are there. So one-time expenses and recurring expenses. In a primary factor, see, initially it is necessary to spend money for purchasing the computer, desktop, smartphones, technology. So this is the nature of cost is a permanent cost. So it is necessary to invest in that one. Then software and interface design, how to design the software and interface to access the knowledge, to access the education, that is one thing. So the network is necessary, internet is necessary, so in that one accessibility is very important. Then user interface is also required to have a digital education. As an institution, knowledge management, specifically the knowledge management is required for the institution. So without knowledge management, there should be a group, there should be a committee, there should be a specific person who are knowledgeable, and their management is required. Training to the faculty members is also required. So we cannot accept the each and everything from the teacher. Why? Because unless we are not providing the specific knowledge of that specific software, specific the material, if the proper training is there, then the faculty will be able to deliver a good lecture, deliver the good information and education to the students. So these are the some primary factors are there. In a secondary factor, the four factors are there. One is a course, next is a cost, the third is a society and support. These are the four factors. So in a secondary factor, design of the curriculum is also a challenge. You can say this is one important thing, the subject in the digital education, because the curriculum designing, the success of the digital education is dependent on what is your curriculum, how you have designed it. So very specifically and sensitively we have to design the curriculum, then only it is possible to deliver the, or you can say the go for the digital education. The content of the curriculum, that is also important. What kind of the content is there? So digitally it should match. So for delivering this education, for providing this education, content is very important, that we have to focus on that. Then availability of education resources. If resources are not plentifully available, if there is a shortage, then there will be a hurdle, there will be a barrier to provide the education. So it is necessary to make the availability of all kind of the digital resources, then only the things will be easy. So related to cost, see, technology cost, I have already told you that the two types of cost are there. One time cost, you can say it is a capital expenses are there, but it is not enough for the digital education. A recurring cost is there. Every time technology and some hardware, software is to be updated. So for that money is required. So for updating this technology, cost is there. We have to go for that one. to what is the access rate of the technology. If suppose everything is there, investment is there, good technology is there, software is there, but people are not accessing that one. So we have to focus on that. So student, it is required, all the learner should access this technology. They have to access the software, they have to access the digital education. Then only you can say that people are going for the students are accepting the digital education. Next one is institutional funding. Unless and until there is no any budget, there is no any special funding for the digital technology, people will face the problem, institution will face the problem. So separate funding, special budget is required, so it is related to the cost, it is a secondary factor. Then next is the society. Related to society, unless and until there is no any pressure from the society, institution and the parents and the students will not go for the digital education. So there should be a pressure from the society. Role of parents is also very much important. They have to give a special time, even the money, they are ready to spend money for the digital education. The role of parents is also very very important. Why? Because it is necessary to control the students. When the students are using the digital equipments, parents have to watch the student, what he is doing, son or daughter, what they are watching, what they are learning. So every time they have to check, then only there will be a good control. They have to motivate. Parents should be motivated to the student to learn something new, go for the digital education and get the knowledge. So role of parents in the digital education is very important. The institution level, if suppose few institutions are using the digital mode and most of the institutions are providing education in a traditional way, this is of no use. Why? Because in our country the people are accepting the simple thing, they are not ready to change themselves. That's why the institutions, almost all the institutions should accept the digital education. They should go for the e-learning process. Then only it is possible, the things will be simple to go for the this kind of the education. So all the institutions are ready to go for this one. Some rules and regulations are required to go for the digital education, because rules are not there, then there will not be any discipline. And for discipline, rules, regulations, some guidelines are required. These things are very important. One factor, the support factor, support from the institution, support from the faculty members, support from the students, and support of the society is very much important. It is very much significant in a digital education. So these are the few factors which are very important in this one. So lastly, we will conclude this session. We have discussed a lot of things related to the opportunities, related to the challenges of digital education. We have discussed the models, we have discussed the factors, primary factors and secondary factors. In a conclusion, we can say that digital education is a need of today. During and after the COVID-19, there is no any alternative. Even many of the universities, they are not in a position to conduct the examination. Why? Because it is very difficult to come face by face, and for that purpose only the digital mode, digital technology is a source, and it is to be accepted by everyone. Comfort zone is to be established for digital education. So in a digital education, students or learner and teacher can have their own time, anytime, anywhere, any kind of the education, and any group of people it is to be provided. And if it is possible, then definitely their digital education will be a successful one. New technology, learning models, methodology, methods, etc., these are to be created in a digital education. So the traditional methods and methodology are useless in digital education. So new methods, new all the models are to be established in a digital education. Digital infrastructure, connectivity, internet, and penetration rate is to be improved. See, everything is ready. Internet is there, infrastructure is there, but people are not using that one. This is also of no use. So simultaneously, infrastructure, connectivity, internet, penetration, and use of all these things is also required. Awareness among the society is to be created. See, nowadays, so many parents are thinking that if the digital information are provided to the students, they will make the misuse of these instruments. So this kind of the thinking is useless. So awareness among the student and parents is necessary, mutual understanding is necessary, then only it is possible to go for the digital education. Digital instrument and the whatever the equipments are there, it is necessary to provide these instruments. Even internet is also provided with the affordable price, then only this digital education can used by the society and even the rural area and by the poor students. If the prices are high, then people will not accept this one. Even at government side, the nowadays only 3% of the GDP Indian government is spending on the education. So unless and until government is not spending much amount for the education on the digital education and electronic equipments, government has to spend the more percentage of the GDP, then only it is possible to provide the education system with the cheaper rate to all the groups of the even student and society. It is possible. Then different digital education evaluation system is also necessary. So one part is there, how to provide the education, how to teach to the learners, that is one part. But simultaneously it is important to evaluate the learning process. The methodology, methods, digital contents, these are to be evaluated, and whatever the change is necessary, whatever modification is necessary, that is also very important. Why? Because if these system, these methods are not user friendly, then if it is not suitable for the learner, then this has to be changed. So evaluation strategies are to be set for the digital education. So if all these things are ready, then definitely future is there, success is there, and we have to implement, we have to adopt the digital education system in our country. So during the COVID and post COVID, there is no any alternative unless the digital education. This is good, and this is a help to the poor students, and this will improve the education system of our country. So this is all about the digital education. So thank you very much. Thank you all. Once again, I would like to thank the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary of the KIT. I would like to thank the director of KIT IMER, Dr. Khadilkar sir. I would like to thank the whole team of the webinar, Desai sir, Kagle sir, Ranjit sir. I thank once again. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I would like to thanks to our today's resource person, Dr. S.D.Kore sir, Chairman of KIT, Honorable Sri Bharat Patil sir, Vice Chairman Sri Sunil Kulkarni sir, Secretary Honorable Sri Deepak Chaugale sir, and all the trustees. Director of KIT's IMER, Dr. S.M. Khadilkar sir, Mrs. N.S. Hudli ma'am, HOD of MBA, Dr. R.P. Shinde madam, HOD of MCA, Mr. S.S. Patil sir, IQSC Coordinator, Mr. M.U. Makandar sir, Organizing Secretary, Mr. D.B. Desai sir, all teaching and non-teaching staff.